I would like to call the Cleveland 2.0 at the City Club to order. And it's always such a thrill to ring that bell. I never thought since coming to Cleveland I would have the honor of doing so, but indeed I have. I'd like to welcome you to Cleveland 2.0, which is a panel discussion on the emerging industries, personalities, and trades in Cleveland, Ohio. And this is our fourth series out of 6 for this year. And I couldn't be more thrilled about what we have today, which is I feel like I'm in the presence of royalty. So we've got some of the best emerging chefs in the city of Cleveland. And for the city of Cleveland, this is a sense of great pride of the culinary depth that this city has. And I should know I'm out every night frequenting these restaurants, and so it's been a real thrill. As a personal side note, back in 1994, I applied to Case Western Reserve for master's school, graduate school, and the Culinary Institute, to be a chef. And I did what they call in golf the proverbial layup. I went to Case, and had I known that chefs were going to be treated like rock stars, I think I made a bad personal decision. But with that said,
when does that happen?
I see it on TV all the time, so it must be true.
Oh, okay.
With that, I'd like to start introducing the panel, and we can then get into the conversation. We have today with us Heather Haviland, who's got 2 great venues, Lucky's Cafe, which is an institution over in Tremont, and the Vine and Bean Cafe, which I believe is on Larchmere.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Chris Hodgson, who is just coming back to Cleveland, Ohio. He's a Cleveland native and came back. He's with Dim and Dem Some, a little truck that drives around the city. If you're walking down Euclid, you may have seen the truck over on East 9th Street. It's painted with what type of character would you call that on the side?
Octopus.
It's a big red octopus.
By the way, Katie,
it's more like modern art. But,
can you put change in the meter? No, I'm serious. I don't want it to get towed.
That would be a photo in the PD tomorrow for sure.
Thank you. Okay.
Before we get on to the next chef, I have to say, as a programming note, we have a chef who's missing in action, Matthew Mitro. And the deal was Matthew emailed me yesterday he was going to do a nitrogen-infused ice cream today. So we hope and pray that he didn't have a nitrogen accident at some point this morning because he did not show. In his stead, we have Jeremy Esterly, who is also with Dim and Dem Some. So we're happy to have him on stage. Then we've got Matthew Mathlage, who's the chef and owner of Light Bistro, and Michael Nowak, the executive chef of Bar Cento, where I got to say, I live in Ohio City, so I've been to all these places, and I spend way too much time in Bar Cento. Yes, they hosted my birthday party, which was a huge success in the basement. That was one of the most fantastic times. I was picked up in the PD as a Rat Pack party night, so we had a great time with that. So let's dig into the presentation today, and Heather, let me start with you. Just real quickly, if I can get like a 30-second resume from everybody on the stage, and then we'll dig into some questions and answers.
Resume? Okay. I've been in the food industry since I was 12 years old. I worked with my mom. She owned a catering company, and never had the opportunity to go to culinary school, but I worked in the industry in different cities until I came back to Cleveland at age 31, and came into the culinary scene and was pleasantly surprised by how much great things were happening.
A lot of great stuff happening.
A lot of great stuff. Mm-hmm.
I've been cooking since I was about 15. I took private lessons for my 15th birthday. First restaurant I worked at was Lopez under Eric Williams, who's a good friend of ours. Moved off to Phoenix, Arizona, went to Le Cordon Bleu, started working there at a place called Christopher's. Did a bunch of different stages, went to Fire, where I met him, and then recently came back from working at the Spotted Pig in New York City.
I've been cooking since I was 28. I worked in surgery for 9 years. Didn't want to go to med school, got tired of blood and guts. Decided to do something a little more glamorous, like you said, rock star. Doctors aren't rock stars. So I went to school there, New England Culinary in Vermont. After that, I came straight to Fire on an internship, worked my way up from the bottom. Took over as chef de cuisine, and then when I got that sweet position, I decided to leave and do this truck with him. So it's been a good partnership so far.
Excellent.
I've also been in the business since I was 12. My parents owned a restaurant. Irish family with a Jewish deli. Figure that out. So I started washing dishes. That wasn't good enough for me, so I had to jump on the line, cook. I've had an opportunity to train with some great chefs. I mentored under Tony Manila, who's was one of the top 100 chefs in the world, Golden Toque, and French Master Chef. I came back from, that was in Pittsburgh, I came back from there and worked at the Bertram Inn, the Leopard, for 6.5 years, AAA 4-diamond restaurant, and decided I had made enough money and I wanted to give it all back to the industry, so I opened my own restaurant.
I started cooking in Cleveland restaurants at age 14. I started as a dishwasher down in the flats, and quickly worked my way into cooking because I had nothing better to do, and other than getting yelled at and to do this, do that. Worked for multiple different Cleveland restaurants throughout high school. In 2003, I was on the opening crew of the Park City Diner for Lock Keepers. Worked under Pamela Waterman for about 2 years. Moved to Vermont. Also attended the New England Culinary Institute. Moved back in 2007 to open up the first restaurant Dante in Valley View, and then opened up our Cento in 2007.
Excellent. Thank you. So, hey, Joe, I've got a favor to ask you. Sure. This device isn't working, so if you could just put P, and of course we'll pay you a check afterwards, courtesy of the City Club. So let's, if you could just hit next for me, that would be great, and we can start. Education, now, you gave a quick resume on your experiences. So, you know, Michael, I want to start with you. If you were to become a chef today, if your goal was today, what would your education path be?
I think I enjoyed the path that I took. I liked that I had about 6 years cooking experience before deciding to go get my education. Seeing myself among a lot of students directly out of high school deciding that they wanted to cook for a living and being that much far ahead of them. I do not discount my education at all. I think it was a great part of the path that I took, and I would do it again as well.
Yeah. Heather, the softball question I want to lob to you is, now it seems like a lot of people on the panel have just started cooking.
Sure.
Now, is that the better option to go as opposed to paying up the $40,000 or $50,000 a year for tuition to become a chef?
You know, for me, I mean, I when I was working for my mom's catering company, I wanted nothing more to have, I didn't want to do anything with food. Absolutely not. There's no way. I went to college for political science, but to pay my way through school, I cooked.
Sure.
And it wasn't until in my 20s when I realized that the same thing that drew me to politics is what I love about cooking, where you bring a community together. I wouldn't go back and go to school. I think that working in the industry, always starting at the lower stage of the restaurant in any kitchen, you learn so much. And to be strategic about where you go and learn these things, you know, when you very much respect somebody that is running a kitchen, for me that was very valuable. And a lot of people out of culinary school come into my kitchen and I think, well, you're now in debt and I need to show you how to cut an onion. So I mean, that's not everybody's experience, but it's like, certainly that's not everybody's experience. I mean, I think that it's an honor to be able to go to those institutions, but it was not my path and I wouldn't give it up.
If you can't cut an onion, should you be in the kitchen at all?
Well, no, they teach, I mean, it's like certain schools, you learn the theory of doing many things, right, but you're not shown, in some schools, you're not shown under pressure, this is what you need to be able to produce in this much time. So you end up taking somebody back to square one and saying, it's really great, your technique is fantastic, but you need to get it together and get it done. Sure. So it's like, that's really beautiful, you know, tomato made into an octopus, but, you know, we need to actually serve food today, sometime today. Sometime today, yeah.
That seems to be the big hurdle in, like, Hell's Kitchen. It's just getting the food out for some reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Matthew, I was curious, out of your full life experience, from the washing dishes to the deli and on, what was that one real world experience that really brought it all home to you?
Well, there's a bunch of them, but the real first one was I worked at the Akron City Club. That was my first fine dining experience. I made a decision that I was going to take the culinary restaurant management vocation in high school, and my parents cried and said, please don't do this. And I said, but I'm good at it, you know. So